This podcast is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello, my lovelies. I'm Cuckoldress Lexie Meadows, and welcome back to the Cuckold Marriage Podcast. Today, we're joined by an author whose stories have captivated thousands of readers by exploring desire, power, fantasy, and the psychology behind some of our most intimate thoughts. Gabriella Lovelace has built a loyal following through a unique ability to blend erotic storytelling with deep conversations about identity, relationships, and human nature. Whether you're a longtime fan of her work or discovering her for the first time, you are in for a fascinating conversation. So get comfortable, open your mind, and let's dive into the world of Gabriella Lovelace. First, let's welcome in everyone's favorite cuck, my subby, Chris.
Thanks, Lexi. We had a long night last night, which may or may not be a podcast story at some point. So we're excited to be here this morning, but a little bit tired, right, Lexi?
Dragging. My brain is it's not come back online yet. I've been chugging water and coffee, and it's still, I just feel like it's buffering. It's like the spiral of death, but I'm trying.
But we are excited about this episode because we are joined by somebody from across the pond. So we're going to introduce Gabriella in just a second here. And before we do that, though, just a couple of quick reminders. Number one, they're the same three, so we're going to keep on repeating the same three, Lexi. Number one is follow you on Fansly. And you can do that by going to cuckoldresslexi.com and getting some of Lexi's good content. You posted a couple of updates from last night, didn't you, Lexi?
I did, yes.
Yes, they were good. Yeah, definitely go check out her, because one of the best things about her Fansly, and Gabriella, you may have heard this, is that she posts updates of her dates on her Fansly, and that's how I find out what's going on. It is just a savage way to cuck, but it makes for great content, and it's fun for me. So follow Lexi on Fansly. Number two, send us fan mail. We like to answer your questions. And number three, follow us on Blue Sky Social at the Cuckold Marriage Pod. And now let's go ahead and bring in Gabriella. Thank you so much for being with us all the way from the United Kingdom.
My pleasure. Delighted to be here. I'm a fan as well, so yeah, I'm thrilled to meet you guys.
Well, now we've read your book, and I mean, we are big fans of yours. This is amazing writing. We're so impressed with it.
Yeah, and I talk about following us on Blue Sky. That's how I found you. Is that you had posted some stuff about your books, and I reached out to you because they looked so different. They look different than any other kind of erotica I had seen. So for our listeners who aren't familiar with your work, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got into this kind of work as an author?
Sure, yeah. So I've been writing since forever. Just kind of bits on Facebook and kind of little thoughts, ideas, what was going on in the world, and sometimes stories that I thought were funny and things that happened to me. I always write a diary when I go on holiday and write some of the kind of the crazier adventures that happen. And the first erotica book that I published was back in 2022. That was a feminization book, and it was just full of angst, and I got addicted to that angsty stuff. Oh, it's something else, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, what first drew you to writing stories about cuckolding, feminization, and the female-led dynamics, and instead of a more just traditional romance erotica?
I guess the short answer is that that's what floats my boat. I'm really into that. I went briefly into the cuckolding lifestyle for a while and loved it. And that was back when I was a bit more of a manly man. I know it seems impossible because I'm so masculine already, but yeah, back in the day, once upon a time, I was a cuck too. And yeah, I just loved it, and I had all the angst stuff as well, and I've never forgotten it, and I still find that like a massive thrill, and the feminization stuff, because hello, the trans thing, and just writing it is just a thrill to get that all of that lovely angst build up. Oh, it's just the best.
That's interesting.
That's really interesting, and that's what really drew me to your specific book that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But to your writing in general, is that you really focus on the psychological aspect of cuckolding, which I think is the most exciting part. The aspect of almost you're in a horror movie, right? It's There's suspense. You kind of feel like you're in danger, but you're not in danger. So talk about why you focus on the psychology of cuckolding and what that means.
I totally agree. It's that lead up, isn't it? It's not so much the act itself. I think that's certainly not the most fun bit to write. The fun bit to write is that intoxicating potion of kind of horror and delight, all mixed together in this like compel and lust as well, on this compelling kind of drug like thing that is. Just it. I find that the best thing to write. Where the cuck is waiting to see what's happened, and the cuckoldress is sort of getting more and more and more. It's getting closer and closer, and you don't. It's all that bit where what's the guy going to be like? Is he going to like have a really big dick? Is he going to be like really built? Is he going to be sort of tender, or is he going to be really passionate? And so all of that stuff, that angst, both from the cuckold and the cuckoldress, I think that's the bit that I think is so exciting.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think that I think here's where some of the cucks who want to write the entire story beforehand, and I don't mean the kind of stories you write. I mean the mini Steven Spielbergs who are in a cuckold relationship, and they want to tell their wife exactly what to do and direct the entire scene. That to me removes a lot of the excitement, because losing control, letting go of control, I think that's part of the psychological aspect. Do you agree?
Oh yeah. Yes, yeah, that's so true. And so this is where your podcast and listening to Venus's podcast has really helped me understand that because obviously I've just got my single experience, or that just a few times that I went into the lifestyle proper to rely on. So I've loved hearing your podcast. That's really helped me. Yeah. So the but what was the question again?
It was just around it was just, gosh, I forgot what the original question was. It was just more deeper into the psychology of it. But I think we've nailed that. It just really is. Oh, I remember the question. It was a lot of cucks like to direct the entire scene, and it's less fun that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I've heard the same thing before, and I think that's the bit that I think that that I hear that people are doing wrong, is they're not letting go. They're not realizing that when you venerate the cuckoldress, when you're worshipping her, she gets to control things. That was part of what really inspired me to write this particular series, was because I thought that although it had been said, it hadn't been illustrated. And I thought I felt really passionate about writing that story where it illustrates what I understand the cuckoldresses are telling us.
Mhm.
So that thing of where they're saying, look, you need to let the woman control this. Like, you can't be like, I'll let you control it, except for this bit, and I'm going to film this bit in this way, in this way. I want to control it. No, 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 no. So once you give over the control to the cuckoldress, that's you. You then take a back step, and you just have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy the show. That's your thing. She's in charge now. Female-led relationship. It's all, that's where it is. So I think that's where what I hear that the cucks are doing wrong is being too pushy, being too pressurized, and I really thought, maybe I can make a difference here. Maybe I can write the story that says, here's how it would work if the cuck was really well behaved, and the cuck could, talk to his wife, his girlfriend, and help her, reassure her about all of the danger aspects, that he's taking them seriously. All of those things that I think that I've understood from your guys, from Venus, some fantasies that I've been reading in books. That's the bit that I thought I really want to explore that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's very true. And I have seen that a lot. Not with Chris. Chris is great about, letting me be the cuckoldress and do my thing. But um, I think that sometimes some men do struggle with giving up that control. And the thing is that if you don't actually give that up, it kind of almost cheapens the experience because you don't have that same curiosity and wonder and angst of like what's going to happen if you're directing the whole damn thing.
Hmm.
So
Right.
definitely. So Gabriella, what do you think most people misunderstand about the appeal of submission, humiliation, or surrendering control in a consensual relationship dynamic?
So I think I'd really thought about this question. I found this one quite a difficult one to answer easily, but I think it's really to do with that. At the very core of it, that you're releasing control. Your things that you should be in control of as a man, as a woman, that you have roles that are predefined by society, and it really subverts that. It's a way of taking a step back, like almost no other way, so that you're saying, you know what, I'm going to take such a step back that I'm going to like enjoy someone else fucking my wife.
Hmm.
That's, so that you're not doing it at all. Even better, the more like superior he is, the more like, got the bigger dick, the more like buff, the taller, the more macho. That's almost like so I know it is humiliation, but it's like releasing that thing of, oh, I have to be that guy.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And you're not. You're saying, no, I'm gonna watch and I'm gonna enjoy another guy do that for me, and I'm gonna really love it. And the other side of you is like, no, 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 I'm not allowed to do this. This is really wrong of me to do this. She'll fall in love with him and run away, and but that's where all of the angst is, and and I just think that's delicious.
Yes, amen. Just so well said. And I think that's why so many male readers identify with your male characters. What is it that you think that those male readers are kind of seeking through your characters? Because I know when I was reading the book we're going to talk about, I was living vicariously through that character. What do you think males are seeking out in your writing?
I think they're seeking out. At the very start, I have a little intro for the cuckoldress, a little intro for the cuckold. I think I say I don't say for the cuckoldress. I think it's just in case there's first time readers looking at it and they're trying to get their wives, girlfriends into it, because I understand that's the usual way around. I made it a little bit like kind of for the ladies or something like that, so they're not reading it and getting put off straight away. But yeah, at the start, I say, if you want to know the key, there is a key to doing it, and I'm going to tell you the story of how you can do it. This is the perfect behaved cuck who's going to, do all the right things where she's going to be like, oh, this is interesting. That's not going to be pressurized. He's going to avoid all of those pitfalls. And he's not perfect. So, he does make mistakes. Otherwise it'd be a boring character. But so he does cock up, uh, but he's going to do it mostly right. And I thought that would be a really interesting. So I think probably a lot of guys would be interested in that as the buy-in. But also I know it from the guy perspective because, once upon a time I was a proper man. I was a real man, as they like to say in cuckold stories. Um, well, but I don't think I would go that far. But I was a man. Um, and so I know the draw. I once had my wife on the other end of the phone, and she was with her lover, and I've done that thing of like putting the dick in the hole. That thing that is a go-to memory on a quiet evening alone. Um, and yeah, so I know all of those things, so I can write the guy because I was that guy.
Mhm.
So I know that, and I hope, I like to think, but I hope that some of the trans woman stuff, which is the journey that I'm on now, not there yet, but on the journey. Um, I hope that I can get some of the female aspect as well, from that understanding, I know what it's like to take a dick. I really enjoy that. That's a lovely pastime. Um, so, um, and I know what it's like to think about guys and to see it from that angle. So yeah, I hope that that there's something there for both sexes.
Right.
That was the intention, was to try and make it more accessible for women, because I think a lot of cuckold stories are very focused on the male reader,
Yes.
and I really wanted something that that a woman would be able to pick up and say, you know what, this is sexy. I could get into this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you did a great job with that. How much of what you write do you
Thank
think
you.
reflects real world relationship dynamics versus pure fantasy?
It's honestly a mixture of both. Some of the stories are fantastic. Some of them are literally fantastical. I've got a fantasy book, which is a kind of more of a feminization book that I've been working on. Kind of stuck with that one at the moment, but yeah. So I do. Um, uh, yeah. Sorry, what was the question again?
How much of what you write
my
is
my brain is doing terribly today. I'm sorry about
well, you're in good company because mine's not working very well.
that.
How much of what you write do you think reflects real world
Oh
relationship
yeah.
dynamics versus just fantasy?
Thank you.
Hmm.
So yeah, I use my own experience quite relentlessly. I have done a story with the cuckers putting the bull's dick in the cuckoldress, because I remember it and I love that experience, and I thought this is going to be sexy. Um, so I totally steal my own experiences, my own feelings. I learn from you guys, from Venus, from people's fantasy stories. Gillian Anderson's story, Want. She's loads of women's fantasies. Some really long, some really short. Really fascinating reading. Brilliant book. So that all goes into. So I hope that, for me, the best porn to watch is porn where it looks real and it looks like she's really loving it. It's when she's like smiling, laughing, giggling, where she's really enjoying it. I think, oh, that's for me. That's what I like. I like to see it where it's genuinely real and people are really enjoying that time. So I wanted to get all of the angst, all of the feelings, if not all of the story. I wanted that to be as real as possible, to really nail just how people are feeling in that moment where uh, where she's getting ready. It takes a while for women to get ready for a guy, and I wanted that to be. I didn't want it to be like oh, they're just going to have sex, so in it pops. I thought, well, no, it's got to be that all of those things, they've got to feel like real life, because that's what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And the getting ready part is amazing when your wife is getting ready to go out. So one of the reasons that we wanted to have you on is because you recently wrote this book called Becoming an Interracial Cuckoldress, and you loosely based it both on Lexie and on Venus. So how did you decide to, why did you decide to base a book on Lexie and Venus and their characters? How does it show up in, because the main characters of your book are Mike and Lisa and Tyrese. And so Lisa, the girlfriend, is loosely based on Lexi and Venus. Can you talk about that and what aspects are based on those two?
Yeah, sure. So it's more, it's not like your specific characters, because, I don't know you. But it's, or Venus, but it's based on, things that you guys have said. And I've thought, oh, I need to remember that. That's an important thing. So she's said that, that this is something to learn. This is what she likes. This is what she doesn't like. These are the risks in the cuckolding lifestyle. These are, because when I went into the cuckold lifestyle, I didn't really think about it either. It's, and I was, typical cuck. I was like, oh, let's just do this. Let's, fuck condoms or whatever. Let's just, I'm really ready. Let's go.
Right.
And it's like, no, wait.
Accurate.
You've got to, so it's not so much your characters that went into it. It was what you said that I thought she's. It's got to be the female perspective, and it's got to be from you're experienced in the lifestyle. I'm not really. I just had a short sort of 6 months or a year of being in the lifestyle. Although I still love it, I would do it again in a heartbeat. But yeah, it's. I wanted it to be reflective of what you say. That was really important to me, that your view came across. So that's the aspect of I hope what came across in my stories.
It did. When I was reading the story and the advice that was going back and forth in the dialogue between Mike and Lisa, I heard Lexie's voice. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds exactly like something you would tell to one of your coaching clients, or that a conversation that her and I would have. So I was cheering on that main character, Mike, because I was like, dude, you're nailing it. And their dialogue back and forth. It was not only a hot book that was a turn on, it was an instruction manual. It was very, very well done.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was hoping. That's exactly what I thought. I need to market this as an instruction book.
Yeah.
So I'm so pleased to hear that.
This is such a good book, and I I look forward to reading more of your books. Without giving too much away, because obviously we don't want to do that. We want people to read it. But can you give us just a broad, tell us about the story without giving too much away?
Sure. So it starts off with in the almost traditional way, isn't it? That where the cuck is like surfing the internet and looking at cuckold porn and really fascinated by it, and then he starts to let slip a little bit, saying so when you had like previous boyfriends, what were they like? Starts going a little bit too far until she starts to twig, going, so what is this about? You're really interested in like previous boy? Are you gay or something? What's the deal here? And so he gets busted. And he's like, oh God, this is really embarrassing. I'm going to have to just admit this, right? I've got this fantasy. I really love it. And so because he approached it as like, kind of without saying, I've got this fantasy, I want you to do it. He doesn't. He's saying, look, I've got this fantasy. It's a bit, it's, I'm sharing something of myself here with you, which is quite, a vulnerability of me to impart. And she accepts that vulnerability and listens to it, and it's like, well, we can maybe have a little play with this in a fun, safe way. And so they decide that they're going to meet up in a bar, and they're going to pretend to be strangers. So a nice, safe thing. They've figured out all of the guidelines, what they are allowed to do, what they aren't allowed to do. They've got all of the safety measures in place. And then it goes really wrong.
So you've been thinking about it. But turning fantasy into reality takes more than curiosity. It takes direction. I work with couples and individuals to guide you through the conversations and dynamics that make a cuckolding relationship actually work. Those first conversations and introductions to your fantasy are especially critical. Done right, it changes everything. Done wrong, it can break it. If you're ready to do it the right way, book time with me at cuckoldresslexie.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's the story. They get to the bar and they meet. They don't meet each other first. He's not there.
Uh-huh.
Another guy sits down opposite Lisa, who is much better looking, much more charismatic, really, really compelling character, that she's just like, she gets a lady boner.
Yeah.
And the rules are tested.
Yeah. It's just a fantastic story. It really had me on the edge of my seat. And my favorite page, though, in the entire book, it's page 35. Because page 35 in the book is where Lisa asks, do you really like this stuff? And Mike says, honestly, it tears at my very soul. My heart fell through like my body like an empty void. But then he goes on to say, but it's like an agonizing stab, but I love it at the same time. And I thought that was so accurate is that blender of emotion. And so that was my favorite. My favorite page in the book. When I read page 35, I was like, that's it. Like, you nailed it. Like, you get it exactly. Um, but what I like about the book is that you put the female character Lisa into a dominant cuckoldress position without making her seem like a caricature of dominance. So how do you do that? How do you, when you're creating a dominant female character, what separates the truly powerful woman from a caricature of that dominance?
I think it's because I'm really pleased that it comes across like that. I'm absolutely delighted. So yeah, thank you for that. Um, I think it's because I see it through her eyes. I don't see it through his eyes projecting as to the dominant woman he'd like to see. It's not that, you know, that it's Mike who's imagining. So what would I love in a dominatrix who would, sort of do all those kind of, cool dominating things to me? No, it's seen through her eyes. She sits down at the bar. She's, like sort of a bit turned on, thinking, oh, this is kind of sexy. I know Mike is here somewhere, but I don't know where. He hasn't. Maybe he's gonna like tease me and come in a bit later and let me linger here a bit, and kind of tease me. Um, yeah. So, and when she sees this guy, it's that so everything is seen genuinely. I imagine I am the character, and I take it in turns with the points of view, and every chapter has the name of the point of view so that it's clear who you're seeing it through. And when I have to take a moment when I finish a chapter, and uh I just think, right, okay, now I've got to be Lisa. This is Lisa's perspective. This is what she wants, and what does she want? And of course, it's complicated what she ultimately she wants to be desired. I'd love to talk about that in a sec as well, if I get a chance.
Yeah. And let me just say, I really loved that about the book, that the different chapters are different points of view. Like, I thought that was really, really smart, and I really enjoyed that. Um,
Oh, thank you.
so out of curiosity, what fantasy or theme do you think is becoming increasingly popular right now that most people that are outside the community haven't really noticed yet?
For me, I think it's I think that it's the kind of the reality, that bit that you talk about as well, where you're stripped a bit raw to the emotion when you're talking about how you then reconnect with each other, how you think you go through what happened. There's something there that I think is really fascinating. That bit where, because guys are told since they're very small that they've got to bury all of their emotions, and they can't talk about that. They've got to, and the strong silent type, that's the attractive guy, isn't it? That's the guy to aim for. So that thing of guys being vulnerable and admitting their emotions, talking about what's really going, how their heart is like being torn by what's happening, how they're being thrilled by it, how that, because it's so stripped. I think that's the bit that I think is the new bit. That it's all, everything else has been done before. The bits where oh, there's a delicious black bull, and don't get me wrong, that is my cup of tea. I love that. So yeah, but I think that's the really interesting. It is the emotion. It's the bit where you're living in the mind of someone who's going through it. That's the bit I think is where it's going, and where I love to be. That's the bit that I really enjoy.
And frankly, I feel like that's kind of what our podcast tries to do, is we try to, through the eyes of a married couple, almost do what you do in your book, right? Is that we're talking about, a lot of times Lexi and I will be telling a story, and we'll ask what was happening in your head, what was happening in your head. And so, your book just felt so real. I know you said you wanted to go back to something about discussing around desire. Do you want to touch on that?
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I think that here's the thing that I think is really kind of that really piques my interest about cuckolding. It's that that it's how enhancing it is for the woman. It's that thing of, I think that so that, the slut shaming thing where it's like, a woman that sleeps around is therefore less valuable. I think it's the opposite way around. I think it's almost too obviously the other way around, because we desire people who are desirable. And that's the thing why I think there is a huge draw to cuckolding, is because I think that that a woman that is attracted to lots of guys, where lots of guys are attracted to her status in the guy's mind is heightened, dramatically heightened. I think I tried to impart that in the book to say, that he desires her more and more. It's not that he's thinking, oh God, isn't she, slutty? No. He's thinking, this is hot. She's hot. She's desired by all these other people. I want her more. That's the thing about the desire that I think outside of cuckolding, people, I don't think they've cottoned on to that. I think that we've put this tarnish over women that have high sex drives, and I think it might be jealousy, or I don't know what it is, but I think women are kind of like caged in that unfairly. So I think that you are all the more desirable, gorgeous, Lexie, for I totally get why Chris is like over the moon with you, and I get it.
You're
Yeah.
so sweet. And I
Yeah.
think that was all very well said. I mean, I
Yeah.
agree entirely. Um,
I got this one. So, if you could just recommend, if you were to take a vanilla wife and have her read just one of your books, which book would you recommend? Somebody kind of your starter pack book, for all those cuck husbands who are like, how do I get something in front of my wife? What would you recommend?
It would be your book, the one that you read. It would be the Becoming an Interracial Cuckoldress.
Yes.
It would be that, because I think it starts at the start of that, the draw of, and I don't think it necessarily has to be about cuckolding or about feminization or about any other kink. I think it's that being non-judgmental with your partner, listening to what they're really into, and just thinking, well, maybe I can do this for them in a way that works for me. I think that's the bit that I would love people to take away from that first book, is that it's not really about that particular kink. It's about kink, and it's about relationships, about that communication. I know that you guys talk about that all the time, and that is so true. It's suspending judgment of each other and thinking, well, I've got to respect this because this is their thing. That they should feel in a safe space with me. If they can't tell me their little thing that they like, who can they tell? And we could do maybe some of their thing in a way that is going to satisfy them, and then bring us together. I think that's the thing. It's the togetherness that you get out of it. And I'm full of admiration for you guys. I mean, I hear you, and it just sounds adorable, the way you are together.
Oh,
Aw.
thanks. We do love each other a lot.
So writing fantasy is one thing. But you have, clearly with this book, you have created characters that are, they really emotionally connect to people. How do you build characters that readers can genuinely understand and care about so much?
That's a great question as well. I think it's uh, sometimes they're kind of loosely based off like a number of people, and I'll think, oh, that's really interesting. They've got a lovely character trait there that would be that I would love to read, and I really care about the characters, even the real assholes in the book. I care about. Well, sometimes the more of an asshole, the more I enjoy writing the character. But the torturing them as well, all of the writing, all of the thinking up really naughty ideas to torture a cuckold. Oh, that is just, maybe I missed out a career as a dominatrix. I don't know, but I mean, it's just fabulous. But I think most of the time the characters just emerge themselves as I'm writing. The Mike character, he's sort of, a little bit of me from when I was doing the cuckolding, a little bit of, kind of people I know, people I've met. He's quite shy, and he's a little bit tentative about it. He's a little bit reserved, and I wanted it to be, he needed to be a bit reserved so that she could come forwards. She needed to have a boyfriend that she respected and she thought was masculine, because I hear that a lot as well, that they, a lot of cuckoldresses need the guy to be, quite a masculine guy, because there's no triumph in cucking someone who's already, who's not, who's just so easy to cuck that there's no win. So I thought that's interesting. Although in my feminization ones, that goes really to a different angle, which I love as well, because there's nothing that can cuck you more than becoming the female best friend, and I've got a thing for that as well.
Yeah. Have any of your characters taken on a life of their own ever, where you started out kind of thinking the book was gonna end a certain way, and then it kind of veered off?
Yeah, constantly. It's almost like shepherding them back into place sometimes, because I'll start writing, and I've got the way I do it is I'll plan out the story. I know the start, and the middle, and the end broadly, and then I'll start writing, and sometimes they'll drift over and they'll start to get angry in places where they shouldn't, and I'll be like, oh, that's ruined the story. So, wind it back. Okay, no, that was the turning point there. So yeah, often they go off on their own little adventures, and then sometimes I've had to delete chapters, sometimes a whole book, where I thought this is gone way off piste. I need to really rein this back. So yeah, often they go off on their own, and I have to stop them and go, no, you're bad. No, bad, Mike. You need to get back into your cuck role and do what you're supposed to do.
I love that. So what role do you think that storytelling plays in helping people explore maybe desires that they may not yet be comfortable discussing openly?
It's so secret these days, isn't it? Because you don't even need to have the paperback. And certainly my sales are almost all ebooks, although I do sell some paperbacks, and I'm super chuffed when I do, because it's really touching to know that someone has got a paperback copy of the book that they're maybe stuffing under a pillow, and sort of when no one else is around, that they're like, oh, let me have a little. But with the ebooks, you can have a little sneaky read on the train. No one needs to know. You could just sit there having a little read of your naughty story, and so it does allow you kind of secretly to explore. And I like to go into the emotional side of things, the mental side of things, because that does help to explore your own feelings. When you're reading someone else's, you can think, oh, that's, and even if it isn't, that particular thing isn't for you, it challenges you to think, that isn't for me, but maybe there's something there that's for me. Maybe there's something that I really like there, in the feminization side of things. It might be that you'd read a book and think, well, I didn't like that bit of it, but I liked that, that there was, this going on. I liked that character was doing this, and there's a lot of LGBT type activities that happen in my books. There's a lot of man on man action. There's a lot of girl on girl action. That there's all sorts go on. Particularly, cuckold cleanup. It wouldn't be a proper cuckold cleanup if he didn't occasionally suck a dick clean. That's. If anything, that seems only fair, doesn't it? So yeah, that's what I think is so nice about it. You can explore something privately with just my voice whispering naughty things into your head.
Oh, I love it. I hope that all of our listeners have gotten excited about your reading, because it's just another great way, especially for for folks who are maybe still be living in the fantasy realm, these books are fantastic, better than stuff that you can find out there. Just in terms of getting your head in there, I think it's so much better than just cuck porn, because it really gets in your head. So I would definitely recommend this. So where can our listeners find your books and follow you and learn more about you?
Sure. You can find me on Amazon, Gabriella Lovelace. If you search in books there, there's me. And I've started to release to Apple and to all the other outlets as well. Not all of them are on there yet, but I'm trawling my way through the catalog. But yeah, all of them are on Amazon,
Awesome. Well, thank you
ebook
so
and
much
paperback.
for being here with us and chatting with us. We're gonna do we got one listener question, but it's a long one. So I think, are you gonna read this one, Lexi?
Sure, I can read it.
Okay.
All right. South Dakota. Awesome. So, my question is really about how to bring up fantasies or any new ideas in the bedroom to a long term partner. My wife and I have been together for 6 years, and like many couples, our sex life has had its highs and lows. Early on, intimacy was much more frequent, but lately it feels a bit stale and repetitive. At times, it even seems like something we're checking off a list rather than something we're both genuinely excited about, and that's never how I want my wife to feel. When it comes to bringing up a fantasy, toy, role play idea, or even something more adventurous like cuckolding or swapping, I struggle with finding the right time to have that conversation. There never seems to be a perfect moment. On top of that, when I do bring up new ideas, they often feel like they're met with immediate rejection rather than curiosity or discussion. I understand we have different desires and an ideal sex life, but the immediate rejection is difficult to want to bring anything to the table for discussion. To be clear, I understand that any specific fantasy may never become a reality, and I'm okay with that. My bigger goal is simply to have a healthier, positive, and fun sex life that both my wife and I enjoy and feel comfortable exploring together. How do you recommend bringing up fantasies or new ideas with a spouse in a way that encourages an open conversation instead of an immediate shutdown? And for couples who have different comfort levels sexually, what has helped keep intimacy exciting while still respecting each other's boundaries?
Yeah, I mean, we've answered similar questions, but I mean, I think it continues to be one of our biggest questions is how do I bring this up to my partner? And it's normally the man. Um, Gabriella, I'd love to get your opinion. As an author, as somebody creative, what do you think is the best way for a man to first bring up the idea to their spouse?
I think I would ask exactly that question that was asked to you to the wife. I would
Mhm.
say, I love our sex life. I love what we've got together. It's, that's great. I'd love to explore other things, but, I don't want to frighten you with things that sound, like too much or too, too far or anything. But I would love to just, to talk to you about it. Is there how would you like to be talked to about that, so that it works for you and maybe, you would perhaps have some things that you'd like to bring to the table as well? How can we have that discussion without it being like a frightening discussion which is, full of potential argument? I think I would ask that question.
Yeah, I think that's a very good answer. I think I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, the only thing I would add to that beautiful answer would be maybe since he has said that she has repeatedly, when he's brought up stuff, she just immediately shuts it down, I would say something like Gabriella said, and I would say, I really want the chance to be open and vulnerable with you and, tell you maybe some things, some ideas that I was thinking might be fun. Um, and I don't need a yes or no answer right now. Maybe you could just think about the ideas and ponder on them for a little bit, and yeah, I don't need a yes or no. Um, just I'd love the opportunity to be open with you and have you, you know, be open-minded and consider some of the things that I'm being vulnerable about with you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, no, I totally
Yeah, I
agree.
agree.
I think it's a it's a delicate situation. It's a delicate operation. It's like diffusing a bomb.
Yeah.
If you do it wrong, it's going to
Mm.
blow up and it's never going to happen. So
Yeah.
that is our only listener question for today. Before I hand it over to Lexi to close us out, I do want to really quickly give a shout out to the Cuck My Life podcast. Lexi and I were guests on it a few weeks ago, and just want to say to all the guys on there, we had Aussie, we had Hubs, we had Hopeful. Thank you. You guys are amazing, and we really appreciate you. We love your show as well.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. Gabriella, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an absolutely fascinating conversation we've had about fantasy and storytelling and the deeper psychology behind these themes we've talked about. For our listeners, guys, be sure and check out Gabriella's work and support her as an author. We'll be sure and link her books and information in the show notes. Guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with someone who might find it interesting. Those ratings and reviews really do help us grow and reach more people around the world. You can also send us fan mail, follow us on Blue Sky at the Cuckold Marriage Pod. And for exclusive content, check me out at cuckoldresslexie.com. Again, Gabriella, you are amazing. Your work is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. We super appreciate it. And
It's such a pleasure. And yeah, I hope I haven't been too much of a fangirl because I love the podcast. But yeah, really, really touched to have been on. Thank you.
thank
Absolutely.
you. You're a doll.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Talk soon.